Welcome to Divas Live. We are here in Hempstead. Divas, divinely inspired, victoriously anointed sisters. Join us as we embark on a journey to explore our neighborhoods, embrace our culture, empower our people, and elevate our consciousness. Here on Divas Live, you will get to know politicians, church leaders, organizations and associations in our midst, minority business owners, and unsung heroes in our community. I implore you to tune in on Tuesday and Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Cablevision Channel 115. Follow us on Facebook at Divas Live TV. Follow us also on Instagram and Twitter at Divas Live TV. Divas, divinely inspired, victoriously anointed sisters. Political Action Committee. Your issues are our issues.
Welcome to Divas Live, Roosevelt, Long Island. At Divas Live, we ask the tough questions. We will expose corruption and traitors to our cause. We will send a clear message to our legislators and our lawmakers and our politicians that we will use the power at the ballot box. We will only support politicians that respect our agenda. The issues in the corridor remain constant: crime, gang violence, education, poverty, poor housing. And we will fight until victory is won. Because you count.
Divas Live TV from Freeport. Join us every week as we discuss issues that affect our community. Here in Freeport, like our neighbors in Roosevelt and Uniondale, we've also been impacted by the mortgage foreclosure crisis. So join us every week. Tell us what issues are important to you. Send us a message on Facebook, on Twitter, and also check out our shows on YouTube. Divas Live TV.
Hi, it's Divas Live, and we're here in Uniondale, and I'm standing next to one of my favorite people in the world. Listen, everything that you previously heard, our twist on everything is going to be that we're going to be God-centered. We're a community that has been rejected, we've been taken for granted, we've been overlooked. And what our goal is to encourage a sense of community. We want everyone to know in the corridor that we do count, and we've counted for a long time. So we just want to encourage everybody to tune in, and we want to invite you to come over to us. We're going over to the studio now. Our first guest is going to be Mel Harris, the president of the Hempstead chapter of the NAACP. So come on, we're going over now.
Welcome everyone to Divas Live, divinely inspired, victoriously anointed sisters, Political Action Committee. Here I have with me today my sisters, Cherie Hardwick, Michele Baptiste, and Diane Jackson. We are so pleased to be here in the studio. We're going to have lots of fun, right, ladies? Yes, we have some wonderful guests coming up, and we're going to get into the issues that are involved in our community. We have a great guest with us today, Mr. Melvin Harris Jr. We are so delighted to have him with us today, and we'll be shooting lots of footage outside and with members of everyone's organizations and some family members, and we're just going to have a great time.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll be right back with our program with Mr. Melvin Harris Jr. As I said, we have the always dapper Mr. Melvin Harris Jr. with us from the NAACP. He is the president of the Hempstead branch, and we know that the NAACP has always been significant in our community, nationally as well as locally, and we want a little background about Mr. Harris. So he's going to give us a little synopsis about himself.
Ladies, thank you for having me on your show today.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to be here on your premiere show. I believe this is going to be a smash hit in Nassau County,
Thank you so much.
and you'll be syndicated before you can count to 10.
Thank you.
But let me just give you a little background about me. I was born in Queens Village, New York. Grew up there. I was fortunate enough to grab a job at the New York City Transit Authority at the age of 22, where I drove a city bus for 17 years before I became the union chairman at a location where I've successfully won 4 consecutive elections, representing some of the fine men that moved New York City from Amalgamated Transit Union Local 1056. And I also work for the Nassau County Executive, Edward P. McGannell, current county executive out here, who's doing a terrific job. If I say so myself, doing a terrific job. I said it twice.
You said it twice.
And I'm also president of the NAACP Hempstead branch, past president of Ocean Garden Civic Association. And it's just great to be on your show today.
That's wonderful. You work for Ed Mangano and you're president of the NAACP. Is there a conflict there?
No, there's no conflict there. Only because I met Ed his first year he was running. He's a terrific guy, and it's more like working for a good friend of mine. Only because of the fact that once you get to know Ed McGannell, you're just gonna love Ed. And we don't agree on everything, but we do agree on the basic principles that every Nassau County resident deserves to be treated equally and fairly.
We agree with that.
Yeah, we definitely agree with that. Okay. The mission and the vision of the National NAACP. Could you enlighten us on that?
Well, the vision of the NAACP has always remained the same. It is to root out and eradicate racial disparity throughout and be an advocacy for those people who haven't. Like I said, this year we look back and we think about 50 years later after the March on Washington, D.C., which I was down there and it was really nice.
Yeah. We were there also. Yeah, it was
a
great time.
What a historic moment. Just to know that 50 years prior, some of the great historian statues that we reminisce about stood right where we stood there
it was
that
amazing.
day for the same things. But as far as we go, we've come a long way. Yes. But when we look at a lot of the conditions out here in Nassau County, how far have we really come?
Yeah. We have a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right now, we're looking into investigating some of the major disparities at the hiring practices at the local colleges, where we see that there are not that many African Americans hired as professional staff at some of the colleges that have more than 60% minorities that go there.
Exactly.
And this is a disparity that I can't sleep with at night. And we're going to go up there very shortly to close the books on historical hiring practices that don't favor hiring everyone equally. So stay tuned for that. We're not going to tell you which college. The question, what we will tell you is too many colleges have not met the quota for hiring equally throughout Nassau County.
Wow. So what are some of the other initiatives that you're working on now?
Well, education has always been a prime initiative of the NAACP, only because we understand that education is the real railroad.
Yes.
Out of poverty.
Absolutely. That's it.
Away from crime, away from the gangs. So that's one of the things we work on. We were fortunate enough to have Mr. Julius Brown come to our meeting yesterday and showed us the direction.
He's with the Hempstead
School Board. He's the deputy superintendent there, very articulate. And we wanted him to come because many times everyone talks about the Hempstead School District in such a negative light. We just wanted to put a positive light on it. We know where the school district is at right now. We want to really know where the school district is going.
Right.
And he gave us some very exciting plans about where the school district is going in terms of some of their new initiatives. And I was pleased to see that we hope that go forward. And I hope that the school board invites the NAACP in to become a partner in education with them.
Awesome.
That would be wonderful.
Awesome.
Invite Jalaise in too.
Thank you so much. We'd love to be there.
So, Mr. Harris, I just wanted to talk to you about voter fraud and election fraud. Locally, we've had some issues come up in some of our elections, and I just wanted your thoughts on what you would like to do as the president of the NAACP to fight those type of issues.
Well, first thing first, voter fraud is a serious issue in America. As we see right now that all around America they're changing some of the voting laws, and to add fraud to it puts minority communities at such a disadvantage. I would like to see that the Department of Justice would send some of their people down here in areas that are prone to have voter fraud, and let's eradicate it. Those that engage in them, let us arrest them. Only because we can't afford to have democracy tampered with.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of the initiatives that the NAACP is doing on a national scale? Because we understand that it's not just a local problem; that it's a national problem.
Well, the NAACP, many of us are poll watchers.
Oh, great.
And we like to get the vote out, but we like to also stay vigilant at polls and watch what goes on there. Like I said, we're not detectives or police, but we have a right to be poll watchers and watch what goes on systematically throughout the country at polling sites. Like I said, we were on the ground for every election there has been, so we continue to do what we do: advocacy for civil rights.
Yes.
And voters' right is civil rights. So that's what even though recently we had the Supreme Court struck down part of the voter right bill, and the part they took out of it is like giving me a car but taking the keys away from it, because it took a lot of the power away from the Department of Justice. And like I said, even though it's not directly here, but I still say that politics is local.
Yes,
most of the laws that we see around the United States that are impacting minority communities come from a very local level.
Yes.
So people have to get out of their houses. If you have to carry someone to the polls, it's important to get to the polls and vote. We cannot afford to come 50 years later and give up the right that so many of us died for, bled for.
Right. Minorities have an obligation to get out.
We have an obligation to get out and vote.
Yeah, surely honoring someone is more than just talking about it or staying home from work on a national holiday. You can honor Dr. King, absolutely, and everyone that died in the civil rights movement, the freedom riders, when you just think about it, just looking at the newsreel still makes my hair stand on end. That, just because of what they did, if for no other reason, even if you don't want to vote, that should make you want to go out and vote.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And don't just come yourself. Bring family. Bring your children. Bring your aunts. Bring your uncles. Call everyone to get out and vote. Never come to the poll by yourself. It's true.
How did you feel the night that Trayvon Martin verdict came in? How did you personally feel?
Well, personally, I felt devastated that here we go again. And I was at a convention in Florida, Orlando, Florida, the NAACP. The night the verdict came in, we had maybe like a 5-minute head start before it flashed across TV screens, and I said to myself, "Wow, a young man on his way somewhere, shot down in cold blood, and no one saw the justice like we saw it." But then again, this is not the first time that someone that looks like us has been shot down in cold blood, and the courtroom has saw things quite differently from what we saw.
Yes.
And I just imagine that maybe if they just saw Trayvon Martin as a kid with if he had no color, just a kid on his way home carrying candy and a soft drink, maybe they would have saw it differently. You know what I mean? Like I said all the time, what a tragedy that anyone at that age would lose their life over simply walking home.
How did you feel, Theresa, that night?
I was totally devastated, and I actually thought about the men that are being killed in Hempstead on a weekly, a daily, a monthly basis. I think it's such a travesty of justice. What do you think about the crime rate in the corridor in Nassau County in regard to minority communities?
Well, a lot of people probably don't know what the corridor is.
Okay, would you explain that to them?
The corridor is affectionately known as Hempstead, Roosevelt, Uniondale, and it's a crime when young black men get killed anywhere, whether you're in the corridor or whether you're in Queens Village,
Elmont,
Cambridge Heights,
Lakeview.
What a loss! But the truth is, do we have enough programs for our young people in our community?
Right.
Have the community failed our young people?
Yes.
Where's the nearest youth center near you?
Right.
It's important. That's why it's so important that we do maintain youth activities in our county, and that we have parent involvement in our neighborhood. Because a lot of times we say, "Oh, look at these kids," but the truth is, have we done our very best for our own children?
Exactly.
We always want someone else to do more for us. We have a saying at the Amalgamated Transit U Local 1056. Never ask someone to do more for you than you're willing to do for yourself.
That's right.
I agree.
That's right.
And it's said that Nassau County is one of the most racist counties in the nation, and I see that in healthcare disparities. What do you feel about healthcare disparities in our area?
Healthcare disparities around the world seem to lean toward that. When we talk about, I just was speaking at a breast cancer function Sunday, and I said that every 3 minutes a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, and every 13 minutes she loses that fight. But a decade has shown that they've made so many different advances in breast cancer, but it has not shown the same for minority women. So the healthcare disparities speak for themselves in our community. We have to get more prevention out there, more early self-diagnosis going on in our community. But like I said, but a lot of this stuff that we play a major role in ourselves. Bringing your father get his prostate checked, your brothers. Love someone enough to make them go check for themselves.
That's right.
And keep the
Absolutely.
appointments once they're made, because I know that's a complaint that we cancel a lot of appointments and we don't keep them, so they feel like we're not getting the care that we need because we're not showing up. So that's important that once we make those appointments that we keep them.
And no one knows better than me. I lost my youngest brother, Bruce Harris, at the age of 34 to colon cancer. And at 34, you don't really get checked for. By the time he got diagnosed with it, he was already stage 4. He only survived 11 months after his diagnosis. So
there are a lot of diagnoses of cancer in our area for some reason. I don't know whether it's the water or the electric lines or what, but we have a high incidence of cancer in our area.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Nassau County has some of the highest rates of
breast
cancer
Yes,
and
I've heard
prostate
that.
cancer. And they think it might be the water. I think there was an article in Newsday today talking about the water.
I brought my own.
Well, we definitely have to support breast cancer. You said
Breast cancer awareness.
Right. Okay. And where was that?
This was at Maranatha. It was at Reverend Mixon New Life Center in Queens Village.
Oh, okay.
Miss Sabrina Johnson, she did that. She's a breast cancer survivor herself, and even though she's in the fight for her own life, she thought enough of the people coming behind her that fight for their tomorrows too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I believe it's October.
That's right.
And everybody should go out there, get their mammograms, make sure you get checked.
Check your prostate, young brothers.
Yes.
Start early.
And ladies, we also have to do the self-examination. That's important as well. Because
Yes.
we're often the
Absolutely.
first ones to detect it.
Right. To fill that lump or whatever.
Yeah, we can't keep poo-pooing everything away like it
That's
doesn't
right.
mean anything. We have to take it seriously. And nobody knows your body better than you.
That's it.
You know
That's
when
it.
something different is going on.
Prevention is the best cure.
Well, I didn't realize that the Hempstead branch serviced so many of its outlying areas like Baldwin,
Floral Park.
Yeah, so many different outside. And if I didn't know, probably a lot of the residents in those areas didn't know that there's a Hempstead, that the Hempstead branch is there to
The
service
Hempstead
them.
charter was chartered in 1939. So it's one of the largest chartered branches in Long Island.
So
like
what
a-
areas do you service?
We service Uniondale, Hempstead, Floral Park, South, and we service West Hempstead and Uniondale. Did I say Uniondale?
Yeah.
I'm from Uniondale, so I might say it twice. And Uniondale.
Okay. You like Uniondale.
And even though they have a great branch out here in Freeport, Roosevelt, Mr. Doug Mayers, and
Yes.
excellent president of the NAACP. we're one big family.
Sure.
And we're counting on new membership because we are a family that needs to grow because our issues don't go away. So we have to stay in the fight.
Yes.
But what are the costs of your membership? And
$30 $30 for a regular membership, but a Silver Life membership is $75. Paid every year till you get to $750. And we meet at Kennedy Park at 7 o'clock the fourth Monday every month. But if there's an issue, we're right there. We meet where we have to meet.
Can they contact you, or do you have an email address?
I do have an email address. Our email address is NAACP@yahoo.com. That's the website, and the email address is NAACP@yahoo.com.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and would you have any last words for our viewing audience?
I would take every election like it was our last election.
That's right.
Never take anything for granted, because what we do understand is that most of the laws that impact our lives on a daily basis are at the local level.
Yes.
Stop begging people for the stuff that you pay taxes for, and start demanding it. We need to demand equal everything in our community, because there is no such thing as a minority discount when it comes down to tax dollars in our neighborhood.
That's it.
We're paying our fair share, so we want our fair share.
If not more.
And ladies, I want to thank you so much for inviting me on your first show.
Very glad
I
to
feel
have
like a star a little bit. I'm surrounded.
Thanks for coming.
Well, you can't say the minority community in Nassau County without saying Mr. Melvin Harris Jr.
Yeah.
He is a pillar in our community, and we thank him so much for being with us on this premiere show of Divas Live. We thank you so much. We appreciate
ladies.
all of your work in our community, and God bless you and everything that
And
you
God
may
bless
do.
you all.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back. Every week on Divas Live, you'll hear us send our accolades to members of the community who we feel deserve a special shout out. This week, we recognize and acknowledge Tammy Williams from LEAP. LEAP is leading, empowering, advocating for progressive change in our community. Thank you for all that you do in the community. Our community is better because of you.
We all can remember one of the first Bible facts that we learned as children, and that was the shortest verse in the Bible, Jesus wept. And I can remember as a young child, we all fighting to be the first ones to recite that verse. But there's another short verse in the Bible that will change the world if we would let it. And that is, let brotherly love continue. So we Divas would like to leave you with this thought. No one says it better than our senior pastor, Bishop Frank Otherwhite. He always tells us it's just nice to be nice. But if you're battling demonic forces and in severe battle, what you might want to say, like our pastor, Bishop Frank Anthon White, instructed us to do on Sunday, preface it by saying it is written that brotherly love will continue, and watch things change. So we would love for you to just remember to watch us every week, and we're so happy that you joined us today.
Join us next week, where the issue will be voter fraud on Divas Live.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your presence in our program. Thank you so much. Divas, divinely inspired, victoriously anointed sisters in your home. I just would like to say in closing, let your light shine, be a source of strength and courage, share your wisdom, and radiate love. Thank you so much for having us.